morning I'm here with Coach Adam, and we are going to talk about wrist mobility and how to warm up before going into mainly probably handstands, kind of a lot of gymnastic type movements. Adam was saying this.
Front squats as well, yeah.
Yeah, front squats, but Adam was saying that a lot of people suffering with a lot of wrist stuff at the minute. So again, Adam was demonstrating earlier his kind of warm-up routine, which I really liked actually with a lot of movement. So Adam's going to run through that, and then afterwards I'm just going to chuck in a little bit of band work to help us get a little bit more out of it. So Adam will go through and demonstrate it, and we'll kind of talk through what he's doing as we go. So what do you kick off with to start with?
Wrist push-ups, get all like the forearms fired up, get the blood flow going, and keep our fingers flat.
So Adam would do this, you do this laying on the floor with more weight, won't it? Usually. So again, all we can see is really working the dexterous part of the hand and wrist really. Get it all fired up. Again, do you guys find this difficult too, or a bit?
Yeah, some people do. Yeah, some people find it hard to keep their fingers down.
Yeah, and probably really concentrating on that lowering down as well. It's all about control as well when we're doing this, because making sure everything's firing up properly. And then you would go into some of the palm work. Yeah. So go on, you talk through.
So like a rock and roll between the heel of my hands and then like my knuckles. So not so much my fingers. We get some activation going on from your knuckles. So we're getting the top of your forearm working as well.
So it's no different if you really think about how you would rock from your kind of heel to toe in terms of on your foot. Yeah, so all we're doing is kind of moving it up into the hand, same sort of principle, getting all areas, because this will be needed when you're doing your handstand walks, press ups and so on, in terms of that hand's going to need to fire up in all directions when you kind of go off balance. So again, nice proprioceptive work here. Then you showed me a bit of range movement stuff.
Rotation stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm focusing on keeping either side of my wrist in contact with the box or the floor, and we go through a full rotation, so we get some rotation through the shoulder, elbows and wrists, and we work that position, and we can change direction.
Nice.
Getting a bit of everything going on.
It's good, yeah. Some of you guys, Adam again demonstrates it really well. You'll probably find that certain areas you're going to find it a little bit trickier than others. So if you get to a point within that movement and it's a little bit stiffer, again, hang around in that position, get it a little bit easier. Always compare your left to right, but again, what I like about that is that we get the whole upper limb involved in it. So very functional in terms of when we're talking about lifting and everything. So yeah, really nice one to move on to. Go on.
Next, I'd work just a bit of gentle, trying to keep my arms locked out straight the whole time, so not compensating with bent elbows, and I just gently put some pressure through, trying to keep my shoulders stacked over my wrists.
Perfect, and this is some of the stuff I'm going to use the band afterwards, just to progress a little bit, but we'll run through that afterwards, okay? Lovely stuff.
And then nice easy ones, bit of rotation.
Yeah.
Find that one a bit harder.
I was going to say, what I like about this one actually is, again, what we'll probably see is everyone will come up to the gym, smash it all out in 5 to 10 minutes. This stuff, you can sit at your desk at work, you can kind of constantly work it during the day. I know from my job when I'm massaging people all day, my wrists are stiff as anything. So again, you keyboard warriors, we're sitting there, break it up, do some of this work, and just work on that mobility before you even get into the gym. Toilet, yeah, again.
Do it on the toilet.
Spend as much time, that's why his wrist movement's so good. A lot of time spent in there just working it. So yeah, perfect time, just kind of, there's always time to work on mobility work. Then the last bit, I'm just going to chuck in some band work with some of the things Adam's just done there, just to show you, to get a little bit more, for those of you who've got really stiff wrists and so on, and you can't necessarily get to the same position Ad can, we're going to use the band just to distract the joint and get a little bit in terms of mobilisation.
Keep them close to the box.
Perfect. So in this position, all we're doing, the band is just, we're going to place that on the bones here. We're not necessarily coming into the hand, and all it's doing is pulling these bones back. So what that will allow is that shift in terms of radius and ulnus coming this way, which means that you can get a little bit more movement with that mobilisation. So get the tension on, maintain that tension, and then just slowly oscillate into that position as Adam's doing. Again, not too aggressively, just a little bit more, and each time you do it, you'll be able to go a little bit further, okay? Something like 20 to 30 reps on each side will be enough. You can work it into the other position, but it can get a bit uncomfortable. This sort of position, and especially with CrossFit front back positions, handstands, it's really functional. So again, if you want a little bit more out of it, mess around, doesn't have to be a certain band, whatever one feels comfortable. but this has got a reasonable amount of tension on it, just to get that little bit more movement with that wrist position. Yes?
So there's like fault finding. So if I was having trouble with my wrists and they were hurting, but yeah, I was getting into really super flex positions, what would be like a good gauge of my wrists are pretty flexible, I need to work on something else rather than my wrists?
What, in terms of if they were, wrist range movement was good, but you get a bit of pain with it?
Yeah.
So then we start talking about kind of, if
So obviously if we get into there, you can
Yeah.
go, look, my wrists are rubbish,
Yeah.
I need to keep working on them, but if I'm here,
I was going to say, yeah, if we're talking about neutral, again, if we're looking in this position in terms of the wrist, 90 degrees, just a bit further on will be plenty enough. You've got to be careful though, with people like Adam as well, a lot of you who have got good mobility might find that they're working a little bit too much into the joint and actually putting a bit too much through it. This is where we now need to start talking about a bit of strength work to go with it really, alright? So again, although range of movement's good, it's not the be all and end all. Again, we've just done another video in terms of some elbow health. All those movements will actually cross over in terms of giving you some strengthening as well. But in terms of pain into the wrist, things like 1, 2 out of 10 discomfort, I would say fine, and you'll know the difference because it'll be a case of you work into it a little bit and it should get easier the more you do it. If you're finding it's causing more pain than you need to ease off, same in general with anything really, okay? But specifically with that, Adam's range of movement's really good, so he's never really a good person to demonstrate really. But yeah, don't neglect the strength stuff afterwards as well.